Every so often, a strange pattern appears in the history of science fiction cinema, one that slips past continuity errors, forgotten trailers, and studio revisions. It arises not from the films themselves, but from the people who watched them. Across decades, audiences have described moments so vivid, so emotionally charged, that they seem carved into memory. And yet, the scenes they recall with unwavering certainty are nowhere to be found. Not in home releases, not in deleted footage, not even in archival vaults. These memories linger like fragments from a version of each film that briefly touched reality, then vanished without explanation. Some describe lines of dialogue that feel unmistakably authentic, spoken in tones that match the actors perfectly. Others recall brief flashes of imagery, a silhouette in a hallway, a warning whispered in a forest of glowing light, a figure drifting beyond the reach of time. These moments feel too specific to dismiss, too consistent to attribute to imagination alone. What makes the phenomenon unnerving is not that individuals remember something incorrectly, but that so many people remember the same non-existent moment. Studios occasionally hint at abandoned edits or lost work prints. Filmmakers sometimes mention scenes removed before the final cut. But these explanations fall short of matching the precision of the memories, the way fans across the world describe identical shots, lighting cues, and emotional beats that simply do not exist in any official version. It is as though echoes of alternate scripts, alternate timelines have bled into collective recollection. Tonight, we reopen the vault to examine these cinematic ghosts. These are not scenes hidden for marketing purposes or removed for pacing. They are something stranger, fragments of films that audiences insist they witnessed, even though no evidence remains. These are the stories of movies that seem to shift when no one is looking, leaving only the impressions of scenes that should never have been remembered at all. 1. Blade Runner, the missing balcony confrontation. For years, a particular moment from Blade Runner has circulated through the memories of longtime fans, a quiet yet meaningful exchange that never appears in any surviving cut of the film. Viewers consistently recall a nighttime sequence on Deckard's apartment balcony, where Gaff steps out from the shadows and delivers a cryptic warning, hinting at dangers still unseen. The atmosphere, as remembered by countless fans, is drenched in neon reflections and drifting rain, with Deckard leaning wearily against the railing as if absorbing a truth he already knows but refuses to accept. Yet no release of the film, including the heavily restored final cut, contains footage resembling this encounter. What makes this anomaly especially compelling is how uniformly fans describe the scene. They remember the camera resting behind Deckard as Gaff approaches, the glow of distant towers casting long streaks of light across the balcony. Many claim Gaff delivers a short but impactful line, something about debts that eventually come due. Despite the clarity of these recollections, archivists familiar with the film's negative reels insist that no such material exists, nor have any photos of the supposed moment surfaced through official channels. The mystery deepened when Edward James Olmos casually mentioned filming extra outdoor moments during production, though he gave no specifics and left the subject untouched afterward. Fans took this as partial validation, believing the missing scene may have been part of an early assembly later discarded before theatrical release. Others speculate it may have appeared in a rare broadcast edit or international print that faded into obscurity over time. Regardless of its origin, the phantom balcony confrontation has become one of the most frequently cited memory anomalies in sci-fi cinema. Its emotional weight and the precision with which fans describe its atmosphere suggests a scene that feels too real, too grounded in the film's tone, to simply be imagined. 2. The Matrix, the absent extended spoon dialogue. Among the many strange recollections tied to The Matrix, one of the most enduring involves an extended line of dialogue during the famous "there is no spoon" moment. Fans across the world insist they once heard an additional philosophical remark, spoken either by the gifted child or by Neo himself, elaborating on the nature of bending reality. The remembered line varies slightly across accounts, but usually carries the same message, that limitations exist only where belief allows them. Some recall the camera lingering on Neo's face as he absorbs the words, the scene momentarily more introspective than the brisk version preserved in every modern release. No officially released cut includes such an extension. Trailers, work prints, television airings, and international versions all contain the same abbreviated interaction. Yet the belief in this missing fragment is remarkably widespread. A number of fans swear they first encountered it in a teaser, screened before major blockbusters in 1998, a trailer that, according to their memories, included a slightly longer moment in the Oracle's apartment. However, all surviving promotional materials show no evidence of this. Even fan archivists who specialize in early Warner Brothers marketing have failed to uncover a source. Some early forum posts from the 2000s describe the missing line as part of an early preview shown at universities, a claim impossible to verify today due to the lack of documentation. The Wachowskis did mention trimming certain didactic moments to better control pacing, but never referenced anything related to the spoon scene specifically. The phantom dialogue persists because it feels so aligned with the film's thematic core. It reinforces Neo's internal shift, the first real sign that he is beginning to perceive the world differently. Whether audiences constructed the memory from the film's philosophical tone or glimpsed a version that no longer exists, the extended spoon dialogue remains one of the Matrix's most enduring alternate scene impressions. 3. Interstellar, the unseen dual Cooper sequence. A haunting anomaly connected to Interstellar involves a supposed moment in which Cooper glimpses another version of himself outside the Tesseract, a scene that countless fans describe with surprising consistency. In these recollections, Cooper floats in the vastness of distorted space, illuminated by fractured ribbons of light bending around the black hole. For a heartbeat, he sees a duplicate of himself drifting in parallel, both figures separated by impossible geometry. This vision is often remembered as a moment of revelation, suggesting Cooper exists simultaneously across multiple timelines. Yet, no edition of the film, regardless of format or region, includes anything comparable. Fans who saw the film in IMAX formats tend to describe the phantom sequence with the most vivid detail: the eerie silence, the shifting gravitational lensing, and Cooper reaching out instinctively toward the other figure. Some recall the duplicate fading with a pulse of white light, followed by Cooper's descent into the library-like lattice within the Tesseract. Despite these precise memories, archived trailers, promotional clips, and behind-the-scenes features contain no footage resembling such imagery. Speculation points toward abandoned VFX concepts created during early development. Nolan's collaborators have spoken about numerous experimental visualizations of higher dimensional space, many of which were ultimately unused. It is possible fans integrated these descriptions into their recollections, but this does not explain why so many describe the same framing and emotional tone. Others argue the memory originates from the film's thematic density. Viewers, overwhelmed by the depiction of non-linear time, subconsciously constructed a visual counterpart, but the persistence and specificity reported by fans challenge this explanation. The phantom dual Cooper sequence resonates because it feels like a natural extension of the film's metaphysics, so natural that audiences remain convinced they once saw it on the screen before it slipped out of existence. 4. Terminator 2, Sarah's omitted Ashworld prophecy. Among the many fragments of phantom memory tied to Terminator 2, none is more persistently recalled than a bleak, dreamlike vision of the future attributed to Sarah Connor, one that never appears in any officially released cut. Fans remember a chilling moment set somewhere between the desert hideout and the assault on Cyberdyne. Sarah, exhausted and half-conscious, stands alone in a barren landscape blanketed in drifting ash. Instead of the iconic playground obliteration seen in the theatrical film, this alternate vision shows a silent world already consumed by Judgment Day. Viewers describe charred remains of skyscrapers, rising like cracked bones from the earth, their frames bent by unimaginable heat. What many find unforgettable is the presence of half-buried endoskeletons, their reflective skulls catching faint, cold light as they stare upward like monuments to humanity's failure. Despite the clarity of these recollections, this grim tableau has never appeared in any known version, neither the special edition, the extended cut, nor the elusive assembly edits circulated among collectors. Still, the memory refuses to fade. Fans describe Sarah whispering a short line often remembered as, "This is the path if we stand still," before she abruptly wakes, gasping for breath. The emotional tone of this phantom sequence is so consistent across testimonies that many believe it must have originated from early promotional reels or test screenings. The intrigue deepened when an old publicity still surfaced, showing Linda Hamilton standing amid rubble and smoke, bathed in harsh backlight. Though likely staged for marketing, its composition aligns uncannily with the remembered scene. further blurring the line between staged imagery and lost footage. James Cameron has mentioned filming experimental nightmare material, though he offered no detail on what those shots contained. Whether born from an abandoned dream sequence, a discarded effects test, or a timeline that never reached the screen, the Ash World Prophecy has become one of the most compelling ghost scenes in Terminator 2 lore, a vision many swear they witnessed, yet one the film insists never existed. 5. Alien 1979, the elusive ceiling crawler sequence. Among the most discussed phantom scenes in sci-fi horror is the alleged ceiling crawler moment from Ridley Scott's Alien. Thousands of viewers across multiple generations insist they once saw a shot of the facehugger scuttling across the infirmary ceiling shortly after escaping containment. The image is described with remarkable precision, a jarringly quick sideways movement, illuminated by the Nostromo's harsh industrial lighting, a wet, chittering sound echoing above the characters, and Ripley recoiling instinctively as the creature shadows her from overhead. Despite these vivid recollections, no official cut, whether theatrical, director's, or restored, contains any such moment. The film's production logs also provide no evidence of ceiling-mounted puppetry tests involving the creature. This anomaly persists because the memory is unusually detailed. Fans describe the camera tilting upward as the facehugger moves rapidly across a metallic support beam, causing dust to rain down. Some even recall Brett shouting or Lambert crying out in panic. Yet none of these details match any footage known to exist. The belief gained traction in fan circles after a decades-old magazine scan resurfaced, featuring a production still of the facehugger positioned on a wall during early effects tests. While the still is genuine, the leap from static image to a fully animated moment does not explain why so many people remember the same shot in motion. Adding to the puzzle, one former effects team member vaguely referenced discarded movement passes during an interview years later, hinting that unsuccessful puppetry attempts were filmed but never used. Whether these tests were ever shown publicly remains unknown. Some fans claim late-night TV broadcasts in the early 80 seconds included extra glimpses of the creature, though no recordings have been found. The oppressive atmosphere of Alien makes it easy to imagine scenes that feel real, but the consistency of this specific memory suggests something beyond simple misremembering. The ceiling crawler has become a defining phantom moment, one that feels wholly authentic to the film's tension, even though it has no place in its documented history. 6. Star Wars: A New Hope, Obi-Wan's vanished dual declaration. A particularly striking memory anomaly associated with Star Wars: A New Hope involves a supposed line spoken by Obi-Wan Kenobi during his final confrontation with Darth Vader, an additional, reflective statement delivered seconds before his fatal gesture. According to countless fans, Obi-Wan raises his lightsaber, looks directly at Vader, and delivers a calm, resolute line remembered in variations such as, "The balance was never yours to break," or "The Force guides what neither of us can see." This line, however, appears in no official release, not in the original theatrical prints, not in the special editions, not in the Blu-ray restorations, and not in archived production audio. Yet the memory persists with extraordinary uniformity. Fans who grew up watching VHS editions recall pausing the tape at the exact moment, convinced they heard a final verbal insight from the Jedi Master. Others insist the line was part of early TV broadcasts or re-release screenings from the early 1980 seconds. Some believe the memory stems from the emotional cadence Alec Guinness delivered in earlier frames, his poised stillness interpreted as a setup for a verbal affirmation, but this fails to explain why so many recall the same phrasing, tone, and timing. More intriguing is the existence of an obscure audio snippet circulated among collectors, supposedly capturing alternate ADR lines recorded by Guinness. Though its authenticity remains questionable, the lines share the philosophical tone of the phantom moment, further fueling belief that an alternate version once existed. Novelizations from the era include passages that echo the remembered sentiments, which may have blended with cinematic memory over time. Still, the consistency is eerie. Fans recall the lighting shift on Obi-Wan's face, Vader's subtle pause, and a moment of calm that feels surprisingly fitting. Whether derived from test footage, script marginalia, or a collective interpolation shaped by the character's spiritual arc, the missing dual declaration remains one of the most widely shared phantom scenes in the Star Wars canon. 7. Avatar: Neytiri's unaccounted forest warning. Among the many memory anomalies linked to Avatar, none is as widely reported as the mysterious forest exchange in which Neytiri delivers a warning that appears in no official cut of the film. Fans across multiple countries recall a vivid moment from what they believe was an early trailer or preview screening. Neytiri, surrounded by drifting bioluminescent spores, turns to Jake with urgency and whispers something akin to, "The forest speaks when danger nears." In these recollections, the ambient light pulses around her, as if responding to a threat only she can sense. Jake steps back, startled, and the spores shift in a wave-like pattern overhead. Despite the clarity of these memories, no trailer, promotional clip, or deleted scene contains dialogue remotely similar to this. What fuels the anomaly further is how precisely viewers describe the scene's composition. The camera positioned slightly below eye level, the gentle sway of luminescent vines, the soft, blended hues of violet and cyan. Many even insist they recall Neytiri's expression somewhere between fear and reverence, as if she is interpreting a message hidden within the forest's natural rhythms. These details appear so consistently in fan accounts that they cannot be dismissed as simple misremembering. Some researchers suggest the memory may have originated from a widely circulated publicity still featuring Neytiri in a nearly identical pose, her face illuminated by glowing particles. Others argue the anomaly stems from early dialogue drafts that emphasized her mystical connection to Pandora's ecology lines that were never filmed but may have been described in interviews or press notes. But this doesn't explain why so many fans remember the moment as moving, atmospheric, and unmistakably cinematic. A few collectors claim foreign television spots contained glimpses of unused footage, though no recordings have ever surfaced. Whether this phantom scene emerged from abandoned marketing materials, lost edits, or a collective synthesis of Pandora's visual language, Neytiri's unaccounted forest warning remains one of Avatar's most persistent alternate scene memories. 8. The Fifth Element, Corbin's corridor encounter that never appeared. A long-standing phantom scene tied to the Fifth Element involves a fleeting encounter between Corbin Dallas and Lilu in one of the Floston corridors, an encounter absent from every known version of the film. According to numerous viewer accounts, the moment takes place shortly after Lilu's escape into the ventilation channels. Corbin wanders into a dimly lit hallway, lined with exposed pipes and blinking amber lights. At the far end, Lilu suddenly appears, standing motionless and visibly shaken. Before Corbin can call out, the lights flicker, and she whispers something soft but alarming, often remembered as "not here," before disappearing into another passage. Despite the uniformity of these descriptions, the scene has no documented existence. Fans who swear they witnessed it recall specific details: the metallic clatter of distant machinery, a gentle shift in the corridor's light temperature, and Corbin's startled exhale as he realizes Lilu is aware of something he isn't. Many also describe a brief music cue, melancholic and electronic, that fades as she vanishes. These moments feel too distinct to be byproducts of imagination alone. Speculation has centered on European television promotions, particularly since some early broadcasts reportedly included footage not found in US marketing material. However, no archived commercial or trailer contains the remembered hallway encounter. A handful of production notes mention alternate corridor takes, though nothing suggests they were ever assembled into a finished sequence. The uncanny consistency of the memory has led some to theorize that the scene may stem from B-roll footage shown in behind-the-scenes documentaries, subtly blending with audience recollection over time. Others believe it may have originated from an early script draft, where Lilu's heightened awareness of danger was emphasized more explicitly. Regardless of its origins, the Phantom Corridor encounter remains one of the most vividly remembered non-existent moments in The Fifth Element, a scene that feels perfectly aligned with the film's tone, even though it never officially appeared. 9. Minority Report, Anderton's self-foreseeing vision. Among all memory anomalies associated with Minority Report, the most striking involves a vision viewers claim to have seen, in which John Anderton witnesses a fragmented glimpse of his own future. Fans describe this phantom moment with remarkable consistency. Within the chamber of the precogs, as ripples of pre-visual imagery pulse across the water, Anderton experiences a brief overlay showing himself standing in a rain-drenched alleyway, weapon trembling in hand. The shot is said to be distorted, almost glitch-like, as though the system is struggling to process a prediction involving the very officer who operates it. In these recollections, Agatha reacts with visible distress, whispering something incomprehensible as the vision abruptly collapses. This moment appears in no version of the film, neither theatrical releases, international cuts, test screening reports, nor home media extras. Still, the memory endures with surprising precision. Viewers recall Anderton framed in harsh blue light, streets shimmering with reflective puddles, and a subtle bass rumble underscoring the revelation. Many insist the scene added emotional depth, hinting at Anderton's fate long before he becomes a fugitive. A plausible origin lies in early screenplay drafts that explored Anderton's moral conflict more explicitly. One version included references to visions that destabilized his trust in the pre-crime system. Although none depict a direct vision of himself, these conceptual threads may have shaped how audiences interpreted the film. Yet such an explanation fails to account for the uniformity of the remembered imagery. Some fans argue the memory might stem from an early promotional featurette that employed stylized metaphorical shots rather than actual movie footage. Others believe they glimpsed a fleeting shot in trailers played during the film's initial marketing cycle, though archived materials provide no such evidence. Whether rooted in discarded pre-visualization tests, conceptual marketing, or a shared mental projection of the film's themes, Anderton's self-foreseeing vision persists as one of Minority Report's most compelling ghost scenes, one that feels too coherent to dismiss, yet too elusive to verify. 10. Donnie Darko, the classroom glitch that never made the cut. Among the many strange recollections tied to Donnie Darko, none has circulated more persistently than the supposed classroom glitch apparition, an image fans would swear they saw during their first viewing, but can find nowhere upon rewatching the film. According to these memories, the moment occurs during a routine lesson, with Donnie seated near the window while the teacher lectures in the background. Without warning, the lights dim for an instant. A metallic hum rises, subtle but unmistakable. When Donnie glances toward the back of the room, Frank, the ominous figure in the grotesque rabbit suit, stands there, completely still, his silvery eyes reflecting the pale sunlight. This recalled moment lasts only a second, yet viewers describe it with striking clarity. Frank's distorted posture, the faint shimmer of his mask, and the way Donnie's breath seems to catch as the apparition vanishes instantly when the lights return. Many insist the shot appeared in early cable broadcasts or midnight screenings, while others recall seeing it in a teaser that emphasized the film's psychological horror. But despite decades of searching, no trailer, no deleted scene compilation, and no alternate cut has ever revealed such an image. Making the anomaly even more curious is that many fans claim Donnie reacts to the apparition in a way not present in the official film, his eyes narrowing, his shoulders tensing, as though receiving a momentary warning. This tiny behavioral detail reinforces the memory's realism. Some cite interviews where Richard Kelly discussed filming additional hallucinatory moments, though no specifics were shared, leaving room for speculation about what may have been removed. The consistency of this non-existent scene across forums and fan groups spanning nearly 20 years suggests something beyond simple conflation. It fits seamlessly into Donnie Darko's atmosphere of temporal distortion and psychological breakdown, making it feel almost essential even though it never existed outside collective memory. 11. Inception, Cobb's expansive limbo revelation. Among the phantom scenes associated with Inception, one of the most enduring involves a sweeping, panoramic vision of limbo that viewers insist once played during the film's final act. In this purported moment, Cobb walks alone along an endless shoreline while an entire dream city collapses around him, not in fragmented cutaways, but in a grand, unbroken sequence. Fans describe skyscrapers disintegrating in slow motion, waves suspended unnaturally in the air, and a soft, echoing score underlying Cobb's quiet despair. Many insist he whispers a solemn line often remembered as, "I lost everything here," a statement that never appears in any known edit of the film. Despite the striking detail, no version includes such a sequence. Trailers, behind-the-scenes documentaries, and pre-visualization breakdowns offer glimpses of concept art and experimental renders, but nothing resembling the remembered scene. Yet audiences consistently recall the same pacing, tone, and emotional texture. Some believe they viewed it during early IMAX presentations, claiming the shot was removed before wide release. Others suspect the memory stems from promotional footage shown during interviews with Christopher Nolan, where stylized visualizations may have blended with audience expectations. Adding to the mystery, several VFX artists have acknowledged generating multiple test sequences depicting Limbo's collapse, some of which were abandoned because they revealed too much too early. Whether these tests were ever screened publicly remains uncertain. Fans who recall the Phantom sequence argue that its emotional depth made Cobb's journey feel more complete, reinforcing the tragedy of what he and Mal built and lost together. Given the film's focus on layered perception, unreliable memory, and dream realities bleeding into consciousness, it is unsurprising that an imagined moment might feel as authentic as a genuine one. But the sheer uniformity of this recollection, the city crumbling in one continuous shot, Cobb whispering a pained confession, suggests a scene that many viewers believe they saw, even if it never existed on film. 12. Edge of Tomorrow, the somber ending that audiences insist was real. A particularly haunting phantom memory attached to Edge of Tomorrow involves an alternate ending far more somber than the triumphant resolution seen in the official release. According to widespread recollections, the film originally concluded with Cage staggering across a ruined military outpost after the final battle. Rain falls softly onto broken machinery and scorched armor as he searches through the debris, calling out for Rita. Fans describe the atmosphere as muted and emotionally raw, far removed from the upbeat awakening shown in the actual film. In these accounts, Cage eventually discovers Rita alive but gravely wounded. She speaks only a few words, often remembered as something like, "Some loops leave scars," suggesting she retains fragmented awareness of timelines she should not remember. Cage kneels beside her, overwhelmed, and the sequence lingers on their shared quiet before fading to white. Many recall an evocative musical cue, a slow, rising swell of strings that mirrors the emotional weight of the moment. This ending does not appear in any verified version, not in test screening reports, international releases, extended editions, nor commentary discussions. Yet fans repeatedly describe the same visual details: drifting ash, flickering perimeter lights, and Cage's devastated expression as he realizes the victory came at a cost. Some attribute the memory to early marketing reels that teased a darker thematic approach, though no such footage remains accessible. Others connect it to Tom Cruise's remarks about experimenting with subdued finales during production, though he never elaborated. The strength of the recollection has led many to believe that an early assembly, cut briefly, included the sequence before being replaced with the more optimistic ending. Whether this is rooted in lost media, misinterpreted promotional materials, or a collective emotional projection shaped by the film's time loop narrative, the Phantom ending persists as one of the most vividly remembered non-existent scenes in modern sci-fi. 13. Event Horizon, the extended torment footage no one can find. The legend surrounding Event Horizon has always involved rumors of lost footage, but none is recounted more vividly than the supposed extended torment montage during the ship's transmission from the other side. Fans across different generations insist they once saw a longer, more visceral sequence, one that lingered on the writhing chaos aboard the doomed crew with far more graphic detail than the milliseconds preserved in the official cut. Some describe a figure clawing at their own face, while their skin peeled in spirals. Others recall bodies entangled in cables soaked in blood, or a screaming crew member reaching toward the camera as strobe lights painted the hallway in violent reds. These recollections form a disturbingly consistent pattern. Viewers claim the montage lasted several seconds longer, long enough to imprint flashes of horror far sharper than those present in any existing release. A few even describe specific sound cues, muffled cries, snapping bones, distorted metallic groans that don't appear anywhere in the surviving audio. Yet despite the clarity of these memories, no version of the film includes such footage. Workprint fragments shown at conventions, director's commentaries, DVD extras, none contain anything like the scenes described. Paul W. S. Anderson has admitted that an early edit included significantly more extreme material, but he emphasizes that most of it was cut before final assembly and later lost due to poor archival practices. Still, the memories fans describe feel too complete to have emerged from rumor alone. Some believe early theatrical screenings, particularly limited previews, may have featured a slightly longer version of the montage before being universally trimmed. Others imagine that press screenings or restricted promotional reels might have contained extended shots that never made their way into public circulation. Whatever the origin, the Phantom Torment sequence remains one of sci-fi horror's most deeply etched, non-existent scenes, an impression so strong that many who remember it feel certain they saw a version of Event Horizon that reality later erased. 14. Total Recall, 1990. Quaid's Missing Identity Soliloquy. Few memory anomalies from early 90-second sci-fi are as widely reported as the Phantom Soliloquy attributed to Quaid in Total Recall. Viewers across multiple continents recall an introspective moment on Mars in which Quaid pauses atop a rocky overlook, staring across the crimson horizon as dust swirls violently below. In this remembered scene, he articulates a line contemplating his fractured identity, something like, "If I am a construct, then who chooses the man I become?" The delivery is said to be thoughtful, unusually reflective for the character, and perfectly aligned with the film's central question of selfhood. Despite the vivid familiarity of this monologue, no official cut includes such a scene. There is no trace of it across theatrical releases, extended editions, or preserved behind-the-scenes material. Still, the recollections are remarkably consistent. Many fans insist the camera slowly pushes toward Quaid's face as the wind howls around him, his expression momentarily stripped of bravado. Others insist Melina appears beside him, reacting with quiet empathy, implying the dialogue served as a bridge to the film's climactic sequence at the reactor. The origins of this phantom memory may lie partially in early drafts of the script, several of which contained more introspection regarding Quaid's uncertain identity. Some production notes reference plateau dialogue tests, suggesting that Schwarzenegger performed lines on a miniature-backed set during lighting rehearsals. Whether these rehearsals were ever edited into a temporary cut remains unknown. Thematically, the non-existent monologue fits so neatly into the film's exploration of constructed reality that audiences may have subconsciously generated it to complete the narrative arc. Nevertheless, the sheer uniformity of the recollection, the location, the framing, the philosophical tone indicates something more persistent than personal invention. Quaid's missing soliloquy has become one of the defining ghost moments of Total Recall, existing not on film but in the collective memory of those certain they once heard him question the nature of his own existence. 15. Solaris 2002. Hari's quiet goodbye that never appeared. Among the gentlest yet most haunting memory anomalies in science fiction cinema is the rumored farewell between Chris Kelvin and Hari in Steven Soderbergh's Solaris. Fans recall an intimate, quietly devastating moment occurring shortly before Kelvin's final metaphysical decision. In the remembered scene, Hari appears in a dim corridor of the Solaris station, bathed in intermittent cyan light as the ship's systems flicker unreliably. She approaches Kelvin with a soft, almost apologetic expression, placing her hand against his cheek. Many recount her whispering a line variations include, "You dreamed me, but I chose my own ending," before her form dissolves into drifting particles of light. This phantom scene is described with astonishing emotional clarity. Viewers remember Kelvin reaching for her as she fades, his breath shuddering, the silence broken only by the low hum of the station. Some recall an extended shot of the corridor, emptying into shadow, emphasizing the finality of Hari's departure. The moment would have served as a thematic mirror to the film's exploration of love, memory, and the boundaries between reality and reconstruction. Yet not a single version of the film contains anything of the sort. Speculation often points toward early festival screenings or unused promotional footage that experimented visually with Hari's form destabilizing. Behind-the-scenes documentaries discuss numerous motion tests involving dissolving light projections, which may have left lingering impressions on viewers exposed to early materials. Soderbergh himself has mentioned removing several introspective sequences for pacing, but has never confirmed that a farewell was among them. What keeps the memory alive is how well the non-existent scene fits the emotional trajectory of the story. Hari's quiet goodbye feels like the natural culmination of Kelvin's conflict, a moment audiences believe they should have seen, and thus, many believe they did see. Whether it stems from concept footage, test visualizations, or a collective yearning for narrative closure, Hari's whispered farewell remains one of the most beautifully remembered scenes that never existed. Cinema has always played with perception, but these fragmented recollections suggest something deeper, moments that seem to have slipped between versions of reality before dissolving without a trace. Whether they emerged from abandoned edits, forgotten trailers, or the mind's attempt to fill narrative gaps, their persistence is unmistakable. These scenes feel lived in, witnessed, and quietly carried forward by those who swear they saw them. As the vault closes for now, one truth remains. Some films leave behind more than images. They leave echoes, versions of themselves that exist only in memory, yet refuse to disappear.